guys, it's Sasha, and today I'm here with another recent reads video. I'm going to be leaving the titles of all these books in the description down below if you want to check out a specific book that I'm going to be talking about. But the first book I'm going to be talking about is A Separate Piece by Knowles, and I had to read this for school. I personally did not really enjoy this book. It wasn't a 1-star book, but it wasn't a 5-star book for me. I had some issues with the main characters. Yeah, the two main characters are Jean and Phineas, and Jean for me was too passive aggressive and Phineas was just too optimistic. Now the ending was probably the best part of this book because something a little dramatic and sad happens that I enjoyed, but the main parts of this book I just did not like. I felt like these characters were a little bit too one-dimensional for me. As for the story plot was, I felt okay, but I felt like this book was more character driven and I didn't really like the characters, so that's probably why I did not really like the book that much. Again, I rated this book 2 stars. The next book I'm going to be talking to you about is The Centurion's Wife by Bunn and Janette. I picked this book up because I was looking for a fluffy, romantic read. In Christian romance, usually, I feel for the most part, usually isn't that deep, and they get nice good part of romance in there. This book, I just felt like the romance was lacking, not only in the romance side, but also in how the two characters that are romantically involved came together. It just didn't really make sense to me. They were sort of forced to be together, but in another way, even if they're forced to be together, it doesn't mean that they have to love each other, and the way that they came to like each other just didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. Logically, I wish this book went a little bit more into the two main characters, Allan and Leah's faith struggles. This is a Christian fiction book, obviously, so it's going to be talking about Christian faith, and I just felt like the way they went about it, they had apprehensions, but then they just didn't have apprehensions anymore. It just didn't work for me. I did not really feel like that was totally realistic at all. I didn't really fall in love with any of the characters, but this is a historical fiction book. It's back in the time of like around 30 AD, so I just felt it sustained all of its biblical accuracy for that I know of, so that part I did enjoy, but other than that, this was an alright book. I rated it 2.5 stars. The next book I'm going to be talking to you about is The Portable Edgar Allan Poe by Edgar Allan Poe, and I love Edgar Allan Poe. I love all his works. I have his complete works up on my shelf over there. I had to read this for school. I only had to read some short stories and a couple of poems. Obviously, I love the majority of them. Some are more my favorites than others, but I overall enjoyed this book and I rated it 5 stars. The next book I'm going to be talking to you about is The Invisible Heart, an economics romance by Russell Roberts. I had to read this for school for my economics course. This was a really bland, dry story. It got the economics part of the story. I've been a little under the weather, so if my voice sounds a little weird, that is why. But the story part really just didn't work for me. It got the economics part across, but it was just bland. I felt the romance was lacking. When they went into economics, that was pretty much the only good part that I got out of this story. I did not like how they had the multiple perspectives of not only the two characters, but as it also turned out to be two characters from in a TV show, and we don't ever find out what happens to those two characters in the TV show, so that was a bit disappointing for me. Anyway, this book as a book of fiction, 1 star. This book as a book of economics, 3 stars. So for that, I gave this book 2 stars. And the final book I'm going to be talking about in this recent reads review is Roman Women by J.P.V.D. Balsdon. And I picked this book up on a whim in a bookstore when I was away at a homeschool conference, and I picked this book up because I have a book on ancient Egyptian women, and I wanted a book on ancient Roman women, but unfortunately this book was not all I thought it was going to be. I thought that they were going, in this book it was going to be about how they, you know, the daily life of Roman women, what they ate, how they went about their day, what they wore in their hair, on their clothes, their makeup routine. But no, this was mostly about, I would say, the powerful women around Rome's emperors. So they did get to a little bit of what they like wore and ate towards the end, but the majority of this was like centered around the women higher up in the society. And I just mostly talked about how they influenced the men around them, their sons, their husbands, their fathers. And that was interesting because I do like history, but this book was a little disappointing for me because that's not what I was expecting this book to be about. I did overall enjoy reading this book, and I rated it 3 stars. Anyway, that's all for now. I'll catch y'all later. Don't forget to check out my book lure and all my other social media links. They'll be in the description down below. Bye!